same date, their enrollment date. Okay, so that should be clear. There is one thing I don't want you to get confused about, and this is something new. They're now giving us the household ID for every household. Sometimes, as you know, you'll go in, you'll pull up an existing client, and he or she has multiple households because they've been entered in multiple agencies either before our migration or after. So if you have more households, they will all show up here, and each one will have an ID. Don't confuse the ID for the household for the ID for the client. The client IDs are always followed by the name. So don't ever use the ID that's right before the household type. That's your household ID, and it's useful only if you have multiple households, because later you want to refer to it. But don't get tripped up by that. Okay, and again up here you've got your ID for your clients, and it's showing up. It used to show up after, it's now showing up before. Okay, just a small change, but something to be aware of. All right, so we're done with households. If you needed to add someone else to the household, you've now got this button. Used to be a pencil you'd go into, that's gone. It's now a button, so you'd hit Manage Household. You'd look at it. If you needed to add another household member, you'd click on Add, because it's either add or delete. So you'd click Add, Delete Household Members, and it shows you who's in there already. Now it shows at the top. So if you want to add clients, you would open this screen. It gives you your familiar search screen, and then you could continue with, I don't know, Freddie, Frank, search. He pops up, you can add him, or if he didn't pop up, you fill everything out and add client and continue. But we're not going to do that. But that's how it works. Okay, exit from here. All right, and that's it for households. All this again is in the checklists. So our next step is entry exit. We're going to enroll them in a program. So you've got your no matches because John's not enrolled in anything right now. There are some changes. Program type and entry and exit date you're familiar with, but we now also have interims, follow-ups, and client count. And I'll go over these after we create program enrollment and go over what those are. I think they're quite useful. So add entry exit. Again, you want to work from top to bottom always. The deal here is it's pretty much the same as before. When you come in, it doesn't check off everyone, so you have to check off everyone who's enrolling in the program. And you can either check the main one up here or check them off individually. The head of household is already checked off. It's kind of grayed out because it doesn't let you, I'm clicking on it and it doesn't let it change. So don't get confused because it's all kind of gray. Just look at the check boxes and make sure everyone's checked off. Moving on down. Provider, as you know, is program, and we're going to enroll them in the Shelter Plus Care program. So as usual, it says your agency. That hasn't changed. It's as was. Type HUD for everyone unless you've been told differently. It's HUD. Entry date comes from your back date, and your back time should always be 12 a.m. If it's not, then you're not in backdate mode. So 12 a.m. always. Okay, save and continue. So far, pretty similar to before. But this is where things change. Okay, so now you've got your household members showing up here with the pencils like you're used to. In the old way of doing things, we'd answer everything for the head of household and the name showed up here. No more. We now have a new paradigm. If you scroll down, you'll see on the left, everyone in the household who's enrolling in the program is shown, just like you saw in the household tab. And then the assessment shows on the right. So I think this is easier, more intuitive. So the person highlighted is the person you're answering the questions for. So we're going to go through and do that. Answer all the questions, scrolling all the way down. Once you've answered them, you'll save, scroll back up, move to the next client, click on their name, come over here, answer the questions for them, save, scroll back up, same thing for all the rest, and when you're done with the last person, save and exit. This workflow, I think, is clearer than the other one where you had to, well, I'm not going to go into it. You are infinitely familiar with the way it used to work. So let's just go through this real quick. We're answering for John Galton. Client homeless? Yes. Housing status? Literally homeless. Type of living? Place not meant for human habitation. Pending eviction? No. Length of stay? 1 week or less. And I'm just going through this real quick because, you guys know how to answer these. Extent of homelessness, first time. Chronic? No. Zip code? 87407. Full. DV survivor? No. Income benefits? No. But as you know, we have to put in the zero income record, so I'm doing that. No financial resources. And end date we'll leave open because we don't know when it will end, but that should be checked. Your interns should be checked at least every 120 days. Non-cash. No, they're not getting any. So, and no need to add one. Education adult. No, and I don't have vocational. Highest level, high school diploma. Child is not applicable. Employed, no. Type of, if employed, so these don't apply. Means of transport, family and friends. If unemployed, looking for work, yes. Okay, we're just going real quick through these because this is pretty much all the same. Military, no. Veteran, no. Health, excellent. Pregnant, no, I hope not. Disability of long duration, okay, let's say yes, and give a mental health. Yes, we have a determination. Yes, receiving. Long term, yes. Start date, and as usual for long term, end date is open because it's ongoing. And save. Tribal affiliation, not applicable, leave it blank. And when we get here, and I know you're used to save and exit, you're going to have to remember, you just have to hit save. Once you hit save, look up, make sure you have your history boxes showing. That means it is saved. We do. And then scroll back up. And we've answered for John. We're now going to answer for Thelma. Okay? I think this is easier, because you don't have to go out and come back in, So this will save you some time and hopefully some grief. Actual or pending eviction, no. Length of stay, 1 week or less. First time, chronic, no. Zip, 87047. Full. Domestic, no. Income, no. $0. No financial resources. Save. And when you do these, you just want to make sure these are filled. Non-cash. Let's give her S-chip. Okay. Education adult does not apply. Education child applies. Yes. Kenny Vento, yes. Public school. No enrollment difficulties. Employed, no. Means of transport, use the bus. Unemployed, looking for work, no, not yet, only 12. Active military, that's, I know you have to still answer these no, even though it's a kid. If you leave it blank, it's a flag. Skip all the military. Health, excellent. No, no. And tribal affiliation, NA, so leave it blank. Alright, so save. We've got our confirmation that it's saved using the boxes. Scroll back up. Okay, we're done. We've answered for Galton, we've answered for Thelma. You can go back and check just to make sure that you do have the answers. And then we're done, so save and exit. Okay, so program is in there, type is HUD, entry date is in there, exit date is open because they're enrolled, they're still in. I'm gonna come back to interims and follow-ups, but notice we have this new thing, client count. That's helpful because you can just from coming into this screen, in the past we would know, we would go in through the head of household, we'd know John Galton was enrolled, but we didn't know who was enrolled with him until we went in. Here you can actually click on it. It says 2. There are 2 people enrolled in the program, including John. You just click on that and you can see it's John and Thelma and their entry dates. So that's pretty nifty, I think. Interims, this is interesting as well. In the past there was a separate workflow for doing your interim assessments. Now you can do those right from your entry exit. So there's no longer a need to go to your assessments tab unless there's some really weird thing you guys are doing, and in that case we would have discussed it on the phone or in person. For your regular interim, there's no need to go anywhere else. You just set your back date to the interim, come into the entry exit, click on your interims, and then you'll be prompted, you want to add one, you'll be asked what date to do it, and the assessment for your interims will show up and you'll do that. I'm not going to go through that. It works the same way as your entry exit, and there is a checklist for it. But it's here for you. So and then once you do one, it again gives you a count. It'll say, yes, we have 1 interim, we have 2 interims. Follow-ups, the difference, but you want to use interims because interims mean you're giving them an assessment between the entry date and the exit date. Follow-up means you're updating their information after they exited. And while that's possible, right now our focus is really on interims while they're in the program. So unless you're required to keep tabs on the clients after they've left and follow up on their information, it's all going to be interims. Okay, so we've entered them in the program. So our next step is to give them a service, at least one, and in our case we're going to give them 2. So it's going to be service transactions as usual. And there's just one minor change, two minor changes in this. It's the same as before, add service or view entire service history. So we're going to add a service and we're starting on 1.3. So again, like before, you're working top to bottom. First thing, make sure everyone's checked off and they're not checked off by default. So check everyone off, John and Thelma, both checked. Scroll down. Service provider, agency. We want it to be the program. So Schultz Bliss Care. Start date is good. End date. The first service I'm going to give them is case management. And so case management is a 1-day service. So it's going to end the same date. It's starting and ending on the same date. Service type, there we go, case management. Provider specific, as usual, we don't use. You can put